Happy Friday, everybody. How's it going tonight? Hope everybody had a good week. Wanted to discuss a little topic tonight. Sometimes it's a tough one to discuss, but since we're going into the weekend, I wanted to sort of, be the catalyst to throw it out there. And God knows I'm not the best parent. I raised my kids, the truthful way, the cold, hard truth, and raised them to be tough. And was not probably the easiest parent to get along with, but I did it for a reason because I know the world sucks and it's going to take a tough person to get through it, and a person that uses their head. So the topic of tonight's video is discussing the world and prepping with kids. Now, I'm not telling you to go tell a 3-year-old all this stuff, obviously, but once as their parent, once you think they can process the truthfulness and the down and dirty issues that we're dealing with as a country and as parents and as families, I think you ought to start telling them about it. And, it's difficult, but it's necessary. And again, everybody knows their kids the best. And, again, I'm not trying to say I'm some kind of, parent of the year, but this goes along with grandkids too, don't, in my opinion, you should always tell the kids the truth, even if it's bad. They need to understand, on some level that they can process, what's going on in the world, why we prep, the reasons for it, what are we trying to defend against, what are our rights, what are their rights. There's a lot of social re-engineering that's going on. I probably don't have to tell you all that, but in the public schools, the left has had a stranglehold, on the youth in this country for decades now, and now they vote. So I'm not telling you to tell a kid to go vote, Democrat or Republican. What I'm just telling you is to tell them the truth, and not the fake news truth, the real truth. And encourage them to research, dig it up on their own. Don't just run with whoever's saying whatever. And, it does take more effort to do that. And, we as a society, I think, have become pretty damn lazy when it comes to thinking for ourselves and doing the things that are required to prepare and defend against a tyrannical government and many other things. So I would tell them the truth, again, on a whatever level they're at, kids, you sort of have to come down to their level for them to understand things sometimes. But however that, works out for you, or, your feelings on the subject, I would just be sure to be truthful on some level with them about what's going on in the world. And it's not to scare them, but, they need to be part of your plans. They're your children or your grandchildren or nieces, nephews, whatever the case may be. And they need to be, on some level of understanding. If this happens, we do this, at least. Maybe make it fun, make it some type of game or whatever. But, tell them the truth, let them ask questions, and then answer the questions on their level so they can, grasp it and process it. And, whenever age they're able to sort of get things and want to help, I would say train them to do the things. It doesn't have to be, picking up a weapon, a 22 and shooting it, but it can be different things like showing them how to clean something, or how to plant something, or, how to help take care of their little brother or sister. Just any type of thing that kids can do. You can train them to be part of the process and part of the solution, and get them in the habit of being a part of a team. put the iPads down and put the phones down. I know it's hard to do, but get them involved, because if the balloon goes up, that damn iPad and iPhone is going to mean jack crap to them. Might as well teach them something now, something alternate of a electronic device. And like I said, train them to do the things, and then take the time to explain why we do what we do. A lot of kids will see this or that going on, and they'll be like, why are they doing that? And maybe you don't have a good answer, but maybe you do have a good answer too. So I would explain why we do what we do as preppers and as, defenders of liberty, and listen to how they respond to you, are they understanding it? Run them through little scenarios that are on their level and maybe fun, for them. And ask them their opinion. Ask them if they think, kind of gauge them and see if they're processing things right, on their level, and say, well, what if this happens? What are you going to do? And I'll give you one example. For my grandson, I have one of the things that I put in him real early was hiding spots, in the house. I'm sure everybody does that, or at least most of you do. If I tell you to go to place 1, this is it. Place 2, place 3. One of those 3 places he's going to have to be if something goes down. And same thing when you're out in public. You need to train kids to be by your side. And you hear about these kids getting picked up on the street and kidnapped and abducted, like in broad daylight, riding their bike right in front of the house. I mean, you can't turn your back a minute on these kids, and because there's people lying in wait, trying to snatch up a kid and take them. And you need to tell kids to be aware of that. Not everybody out there in the world's like mommy and daddy. There's some bad people in the world. And one thing I told my grandson is, I said, God forbid if you ever get kidnapped or taken against your will, you never stop trying to get away, ever. You always fight and scream and try to get away, no matter what. And the opportunity you can to get away, no matter how small, you take it and you go. So little things like that, I think, is good to explain to children, if they can process it. And I'm not telling you to scare the hell out of a 3 or 4-year-old kid. They won't understand it. They're worried about, their Paw Patrol and whatever else they're watching. But as they grow and as they are, maturing cognitively, if you think that they can process it, give them a little test and see how they're thinking, see where their mind's at, And I think you can really help, empower them and the way they think if you work with them, and make them part of the process. And kids want to help. They want to be helpers, and they like to have regimented, duties and stuff. They may not say they want it, but like walking in line and stuff at school. They love to march around and stay in order and all that stuff. Elementary kids. Because it makes them feel like part of a team and part of a group, and they're all doing the same thing. So I would just encourage everybody to consider that, with kids. Tell them the truth, answer their questions, and everybody get them up to speed on what's going on. So with that, I hope everybody has a great weekend. I may not be back till Monday, Sunday night or Monday, but I will have another video here shortly after that. Heading out to the place to do some work with family and get some fortifications done and all that. So, we'll be back in sometime this weekend. But hopefully everybody stays safe and fills those holes. And, have a great weekend. Anyway, keep prepping, stack it deep, and always remember, long live the Republic.